Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing. Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 412 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. I'm glad that you're here. I have a funny story for you. I hope that you can relate. I was in the grocery store the other evening and I saw this guy and I was like, oh, that's my friend. I know him. So I wave and I give an enthusiastic hello. And in my mind, the whole time I'm trying to be like, okay, what's his name? And how do I know him? But I know that I've seen him a lot. So I know that I know him. Now, to be fair, he handled it really well because he had no idea who I was, because I'd actually never met him. And after I realized quickly that I hadn't met him, I had just seen him online. He was the new husband of a young friend that I've known a long time. You see, she posts a lot of pictures of him, and so I felt like I knew him. Now, fortunately, she was with him and saved me from having to explain myself completely. But has that ever happened to you? You see someone so much online that when you see them in real life, you think you know them. But you kind of do. You know a lot about them. You just have never met them personally. I can't be the only one that this has happened to. Okay, I had to get that story out to you guys to see if you've done that too. I guess that comes with the new territory of social media, that you know a lot about people that you may not know at all. And sometimes it takes your brain a minute or two to know the difference. All right. But anyway, now to the real point of this episode. I just had to get that off my brain. Okay, I was sitting the other morning in my beautiful Tuscan room, which is my new renovation with the steel and glass windows, and they're floor to ceiling. They look out over our beautiful deck that has a forest behind it, and I'm so in love with this view every single day. So I'm sitting there, and I notice that I'm a little frustrated because across from me, our sofa has somehow managed to be moved a little too far to the left. So not only is it not centered on the windows properly, but I can see the floor outlet and the lamp wire, which I am now so zoned in on that I'm not able to notice the beautiful trees or the beautiful peaceful falling rain and how the lighting is just perfect. No, I'm not noticing all of that. In my mind, I'm wondering how my sofa got moved. And I'm frustrated that I'm staring at these wires. Now, I'm having my coffee, and it's a little chilly, and I have a blanket over me, and I do not want to get up and start moving furniture. But I also know, without a doubt, that this morning I have to fix that, or else my focus is going to stay on it. So I get up and I move the light and I move the sofa over and I straighten the rug out, and finally all is well with my view again. Sounds a little crazy, doesn't it? I have so much beauty to look at here, and I'm focused on the one little cord that's in my view, and I fixated on it to the point where I saw nothing else but that. We do this though, don't we? We have so much good in our lives, but that one thing we don't like gets so much attention. And now we aren't able to see all the good going on because we're fixated on that one thing. And sometimes we're fixated on it to the point when deep down, we know it's a little irrational to be so focused on it. But why do we do that? Well, here's the thing. My sofa has probably been like that for more than a week. I mean, my subconscious kind of has noticed it. It may be longer than that. But I sit in that same place every single morning. And I've subconsciously noticed the wire, and I noticed the sofa being off-centered, but it has never bothered me. Just because normally I love my view so much, I don't notice anything else. I normally only focus on things I love. That's just my natural state. That's my norm. But not today. Today was different. You see, today I have a few things on my mind that are giving me a little trouble, and they are things I don't control and I cannot fix, which has me focusing on other things that bother me too. Of course it does. And now my brain has me fixing everything I can fix so as to bring harmony back into my morning in whatever way I can. Enter wire and floor plug that hasn't bothered me until today. Isn't that interesting? Because sometimes the problem we're dealing with is not the real problem. Our brain wants us to have harmony and feel good, and so it'll distract us in whatever way it can. So we go around hyper-focused on maybe other people's problems or on things that are wrong because it somewhat distracts us from the thing we really should be dealing with. And that's why if you have a sick child, often you and your partner will fight. You're both worried about your child, but you can't fix that. So that energy has to go somewhere. And now you become hypersensitive to the things your partner does that irritates you, that on a normal day doesn't bother you at all. It's not them. It's you. I mean, you're worried and you're stressed, and that's normal and also a part of life. But it's a part of life that will have you wreaking havoc on the rest of your life if you aren't careful. Being stressed financially, being stressed because of a diagnosis, being stressed because of family problems, these can be really big stressors, and they can also cause us to be hypersensitive to everything else negative in our line of sight. That's why sometimes you're in traffic and it's not bothering you at all. And then other days you're wanting to rage at every car you think is the cause of the traffic problems. Or why when things are going good in your life, you don't notice the little quirks about your partner. But when there's stress, those little quirks now are giant mountains. So things are going to happen in life that cause us stress. This is part of a normal human experience, but they don't have to wreak havoc on the rest of our life. We just have to check ourselves for a minute and say, okay, step back and say, I know I'm stressed or worried about whatever it is. So how do I deal with that problem without creating more problems? It's more of the same thing I talk about in almost every episode, it seems. Noticing our natural tendencies, our internal dialogue, our never-ending thought patterns. When something feels a little off, like me this morning being hyper-focused on a wire instead of looking at the big picture, which is my norm. But when I gave it a little thought, I realized, of course, I'm worried. So I'm sensitive to things I wouldn't normally be sensitive to. Knowing that will help me not create more problems because of it. My challenge to you today is to notice when you're stressed or worried. Notice how you may want to distract yourself by wreaking havoc elsewhere. Notice that you're much more sensitive to things that wouldn't normally bother you. And then ask yourself, how can I deal with the real problem without creating more problems? Your mind is on your team, and it will give you all the answers you need if you ask the right questions. Share this with 3 people who may have a worry or a stress in their life. Hint, hint, that's everyone. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.